If you're a beginner videographer or a photographer, you shouldn't invest on 3 things right away. At the end of this video, I will also tell you a couple of things you should get right away when you're first starting out, because those gears you will need for sure. Before we begin guys, hit that subscribe button. It will not cost you anything, but it will pump me and motivate me so much to make this kind of content for you guys and help you out there. First piece of equipment you shouldn't buy randomly is the lenses. If you're just starting out and if you just get a camera, most probably you got a kit lens. Start with the kit lens. Try to understand and master your lens and the camera, and sooner or later you will understand what kind of lens do you need. Don't be that person purchasing expensive lens, putting on the shelf and let it collect some dust. It doesn't make any sense. It can be really expensive decoration. My personal advice is purchase a gear depending on your experiences, especially when you're purchasing a lens, because they are really expensive and there's a lot of options out there. And sooner or later you will understand and realize what kind of lens do you need. Second gear you shouldn't invest right away is the camera bag, guys. There's lots of options out there. Of course, you need some sort of a bag to put your gear into and protect it. And it doesn't need to be super expensive right away. Try to get a cheap option. I don't want to say like cheap and bad quality. Try to, of course, take care of your gear because they are gonna cost for sure. But those camera bags are also so expensive, and there's so many options as I was saying before. It is really difficult to find a camera bag, and I cannot tell you just get a camera bag. I cannot give you a brand or a model name because your needs are really different than mine. So you have to just figure out what kind of camera bag do you need, and then you can go and purchase that bag. You can even get a second-handed bag really cheap, and I don't think it will be in bad condition because people is putting expensive stuff to those bags and they are really taking care of those bags. It's protecting their gear. So I don't think there is gonna be a bad camera bag, the second-handed camera bag. So you can start with a second-handed bag and kind of try to understand what kind of bag and how big that bag should be. For example, if you're gonna do some wildlife photography, you need some heavy-duty camera bag. If you're gonna do some street photography, that's really different kind of camera bag you might need. It can be wise to get a cheap bag in the beginning and try to understand what kind of bag you need. Don't buy an expensive bag right away and regret it. It is really difficult to tell you what kind of camera bag you need because, as I was saying, I need a different camera bag, you need a different camera bag. Your taste is different, so that's why I cannot tell you a camera bag that you should get. You have to just find out what kind of camera bag you need, and it's not possible you will do it right away when you're just starting out. That's why I think you should start with a cheap option and then try to figure out what kind of camera bag you need. The third piece of gear that you shouldn't invest right away is the tripods, guys. Sooner or later you will need a tripod, but you just don't know yet what kind of tripod you need. Do you need a flute head if you're doing video, or if you need a ball head if you're doing photography, or what kind of clamp system it should have, and what length it should have, what kind of material it should have, and list continues. And there's not a single tripod out there that I can advise you also. It's like camera bag. It really depends what kind of tripod you need. So I still couldn't find a tripod which covers my needs. And if I have to get a tripod which covers my need, I have to order all the gears separate. I have to get different legs. I have to get different head mount and such. So that's why you shouldn't invest on a tripod when you're just starting out. I cannot also stress this topic enough. Try to get a cheap option which will cover your needs. I'm not trying to say cheap tripods are good. Sooner or later you will end up with a really expensive tripod because those cheap tripods tend to break and they don't last so long. It's really frustrating to work with a cheap tripod, but if you're just starting out, you have to start with the cheap tripod and try to understand what is that frustration, what kind of stuff they should have. On the cheap tripod you will understand what is bad, what is good. So when you went out there after you had experience with a cheap tripod, you will understand what kind of tripod you should get for sure. That's why you shouldn't invest on an expensive tripod and then find it unuseful. Get a cheaper one in the beginning and then get the expensive one after that. In the beginning of the video, I was telling you what you should get right away when you're just starting out. When you're just starting out, when you get your camera and the lens, first gear that you should get is a battery, guys, because they are really finishing when they don't need to finish. That's why you should always have a couple of extras in your backpack to just continue shooting out there. Second thing maybe you should get extra when you're just starting out is a couple of extra SD cards. You don't need so much, maybe one extra would be just enough for you. And when you're buying your SD cards, don't buy really big ones. You don't need that big SD card. Most probably like 32 or 64 gigabytes should be just enough. That's it for today, guys. I hope this video was helpful for you. Leave a thumbs up if you think it was helpful. Don't forget to subscribe and see you guys in the next one.